Okay, this video is requested. I never heard about this guy before, so I look it up. It seems like he's addressing societal and political problems of China, and he's a Chinese too, so these are probably the reason why he never came up to my browse feature before. I grew up and still live in the environment of people suffering and talking a lot of shit about the society and the CCP. I really don't enjoy it, but that's my reality, so when I catch some spare time, I don't like to waste it on watching politics. I love the idea, From Amusing Ourselves to Death, written by Neil Postman. In this era of information overflow, we care too much about the shit don't really affect our life, our surroundings, or our growth. We're looking for information mainly because we want to be entertained and justify our intention of avoiding boredom. Because at the end of the day, we don't give a shit about what's going on in Liberia. Like the Ebola or cannibal, we watch it because we want to fulfill our curiosity. And that's just what we are. And that's why you start seeing idiots like Kendrick Perkins showing up on ESPN talking stupid.
Right, they're two-man action. For as well as the Nuggets have played at times, Perk, is that you moaning in my ear over and over again?
Yeah, I know. I was getting ready to ask you. You sound like you got sleep apnea, Perk.
Okay?
Was you all right?
Are you okay?
Yeah, that's me. It's
Okay.
not,
All right.
it's not
Are you
moaning.
intentionally?
It's
Are you
not
intentionally
moaning.
trying?
Are you not entertained? No, I'm not. I'd rather spend my time on live sports or stand-ups or TV shows like South Park, some real entertaining shit. Anyway, even though I'm not interested in this type of shit, when it comes to me, I still enjoy sharing my opinion, so let's get it.
World star.
In his recent video about Chinese people lack manners, I can hardly agree with his opinion. I've actually covered such topic before in those videos about why Chinese people shit everywhere. Still, in my opinion, it's the problem of lack of education and information. The Chinese people are forced to believe what they've been told by their conservative family and the broken education system. The content they were forced to receive doesn't match with what they're seeing and experiencing in reality. That creates a lot of confusion. When people are confused, they're more likely to create chaos in their mind, and that reflects on their behaviors. The best way to solve confusion is knowledge. Unfortunately, that's something the majority of Chinese people don't have.
你的梦想原本是想干嘛？
我的梦想原本挣钱呢。
Talking about knowledge, I despise those people trying to blame all the problems in China on the CCP or Cultural Revolution, because they're trying to take advantage of a common misconception that a lot of people love to assume China has always been a country with civil and knowledgeable people until the CCP era, but that's not the fact.
Right? What happened to the Confucian culture of respect, the ideas of Buddhism and Taoism flowing through 5,000 years of Chinese history?
Even though we had a lot of wise people throughout our history, they were the rarest of the rarest. If you believe ancient Chinese people were all wise and smart, living a peaceful life like Kung Fu Panda, that's equivalent to Chinese people assume all black people are Michael Jordan. Most Chinese people's life values were passed on by the experience of their previous generations, which the experience was based on servility that cultivated by the feudal system. No matter how fast dynasty changed, the only thing that was stable throughout our history was the feudal system. That's why people appeared to be so-called civil back in the day. It's not like they knew what civil means. It's about adapt and get used to obey. Otherwise, they get punished badly. Nobody tell them why, because emphasizing the idea of power and planting the fear for people who had power has always been the top priority in feudal society. People gotta make sure everybody in their family behave like what the powerful people want them to behave, because if anybody make any mistake, they might get genocide. So my first point is, majority Chinese people has always been some mentally fucked dumb fuck. It was because of the feudal system that made those dumbass motherfuckers some puss-ass cowards. They never had a chance to swing their dick. That's why their stupidity and pettiness never been exposed. Think about it. Confucius died in 479 BC. Papermaking was popularized in China around 100 AD, which was 500 years later. Topography was invented in 1040 AD. That's another 500. How many people in China do you think have the access to book? How many people do you think feel necessary to learn how to read? It's the feudal China, not America. The Americans' literacy rate was 90% by the end of the Civil War. Thanks to the emphasis on reading in the United States, the printing press in America at that time was many times that of other countries combined. 1949 was the year People's Republic of China was established. In 1950, China's literacy rate was 20%. So that's the kind of people the CCP started from. Last week, I went to the police station. A young fellow, Gen Z, he was signing paperwork. Didn't know how to write reimburse in his mother language. Got me weak as hell. I was super embarrassed for him because I had a flashback from that Django movie when Monsieur Candy was teasing his slave using the exact same fucking word.
You gonna reimburse me? You don't even know what reimburse means. Huh?
Now, that shit here is different. The real problem is, a lot of Chinese people don't know why they should be civil, which is of course for the purpose of better human habitation, but they don't understand it. It's new. This idea had never existed in their ideology before. As I said, in ancient China, people were not encouraged to have knowledge or develop any kind of self-awareness or critical thinking, only the fear toward authority. So instead, in their mind, the only reason they act civil is because they are afraid of the punishment of violating rules. After we step into the new era, where a lot of inhuman restrictions and punishments are removed, leaves a lot of gray area where laws are not applicable and morality is not mandatory. My people's bad manners are exposed.
我真的拉不住啊！我现在脚痛，我真的拉不住啊！我想不起来是这个车的问题啊，不是我的问题。过不了，要么从那边抬过去，要么抬过去，好吧？
They got no idea how to behave themselves when there's no punishment. For people who ain't got no personal principle, the easiest way for them to fit in is like baby watching what everybody else does. And when the majority is rural people with bad habits, the society has to show tolerance passively. So people assume it's okay to cut lines. It's okay to take their shoes off on the train. It's okay to disrespect service staff. It's okay to yell in the middle of the street in the middle of the night. It's okay to take advantage of any public resources. If you're trying to stop them, it becomes personal. They're gonna feel threatened for being guilty for their immoral behaviors. To avoid being humiliated, they will rage to prevent you from being rational. You're gonna lose your mind talking to him, so it's not worth it for anybody to be a hero.
哎呦，你打到我眼睛了！我眼睛要是瞎了，我打你一辈子！我跟你说，你放下来！我你看，我蹬哪去？蹬的，你蹬，我蹬哪？蹬你家去了？
To me, Chinese people lack manners. It's just what it appears to be when a bunch of rural, ignorant cowards from the third world suddenly released from eternal restrictions in the new era and they're lost. It's not because the CCP has any evil plan. It's because our people have been fucked for too long. I got a friend from high school. His parents treated him like a slave of their expectation. After he finally caught a chance to pursue a master's degree in Japan, he spent 8 years on a 2-year program because he finally had a chance to live without restrictions. He wasted 6 years on the video game he always wanted to play because he felt lost in reality. So I disagree with this David Zhang on his takes.
Traditional values taught by all these scholars all gone down the drain apparently after the 1960s, 70s Cultural Revolution, right? Communism happened and Mao decided that a new China needed to abandon all of those values.
Especially it's not for the reason we abandoned our tradition. It's more about we have failed to have enough clarity to develop strong personal principles throughout our history. Traditions don't give you clarity. Tradition gives you rules and restrictions. And don't even bring up some bullshit about at least the Japanese, the Korean, the Taiwanese act civil.
The Japanese, the Koreans, the Taiwanese, at least on the surface, they appear more civil.
Man, that just sounds like you're trying to find a way to hate our people. If our people act normal from the outside, but fucked up from the inside, You ain't gonna say nothing? You're fine with it? You're not gonna address the problem no more? Fucking hypocrite. It's always easy to blame anybody else instead of accepting our own flaws. As for Chinese, it's always easy to blame everything on the CCP, especially when the foreigners love to hear it, which kind of justifies our intention of avoiding our real problem. The real problem is we just sucks ass as a nation. We spent too long in the feudal society and we don't have any successful ideological revolution. I don't know about this David Zhang. Definitely not gonna judge him based on just one video, but I do know a lot of mainlanders live overseas. They have some culture shocks, which is cute, so they're embarrassed for what they used to be and believe. They couldn't forgive themselves because it's really hard for them to build a new character when they're all grown-ups. To feel less shameful for themselves and to fit into the Western culture, they talk shit about China from a very narrow perspective. Play the victim and claim they're not the same anymore to feel a little more respectful in public opinion. When they feel a little better about their new identity in the Western world, they start to act superior among mainlanders, like they have evolved. I mean, that's not self-respect, my friend. That's cringe. Self-respect is accept who you are, move on, and stop caring about other people's bullshit. So, I believe the harder these cringe motherfuckers trying to prove they are different, the more similar we are. And deep down inside, they're the same dumb fucks from the third world who couldn't find their own identity, just like those people with bad manners.